My first wife, I think she had $50,000 in student debt. She had a degree from WSU that her parents paid for, and then she got a $50,000 plus master's degree. Neither of her degrees were ever used for anything. She had one job, which was basically an internship, and then never got another job. Didn't want one. Why did she spend all that money on college? In my eyes, the money that she spent to go to college was used to continue partying for 4 additional years. Now, she didn't party during her master's program, but she was pregnant during her master's program, and she decided she wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And not only did she want to be a stay-at-home mom, but a year into the stay-at-home mom thing, she decided that it was too much work. So then we started paying for childcare. So now she was a stay-at-home mom who dropped her child off at childcare. Then there was the selling the house and buying a house that was 3 times the amount we owed on the house we were in, which I really had no choice. We spent a lot of good years at that house. I loved that house, but that house kind of ended up being the death of us. It was too expensive. And just like I told her when we bought the house, I said, look, this was 2008, 2007, 8. You know, we'd already kind of gone into the mortgage crisis meltdown. I was working in finance. I was still making good money. But like I told her that day, shit can happen. You can get laid off. You can lose a job. And she would tell me, you never, ever say out loud the bad things that you don't want to happen. I threw my arms up and, you know, in the end, it was what it was. But what drove me nuts is after all the years and all the, 9, 10, 11 marriage counselors and the effort we put in and the me busting my ass to give us the things that everybody wanted, she then decided to pop a divorce on me right in the middle of launching a business at the most difficult time in my life and our life, and just grenaded the kids' lives. Just destroyed everybody's existence because she wanted something different. Now, look, I'm not going to toot my own horn here, but I actually overheard her talking with a friend a couple of years after we got divorced. And I literally remember her telling a friend, Dave kind of sucked the joy out of being a wife because he cooked, cleaned, and grocery shopped all the time. I mean, are you fucking serious? I don't want to beat a dead horse here. It's been a lot of years, but even talking about this just kind of makes me get emotional today. When she dropped that divorce on me, I was working 15 hours a day, 7 days a week, coaching my son's football team as the offensive coordinator, replacing the curtain drain around our house that we got a bid for $50,000 to fix that I fixed for $3,000. She decided to drop a divorce on me, move out, rent a house that cost $3,000 a month on the water, spent all the money that she made from her listings for the first time. Now, granted, this was the first time she'd made money in the 17 years we were together. And she took all that money, left, tried to force the sale of our house, told the judge that I was an abusive, toxic, horrible person who took the family dogs and gave them away. I mean, all this bullshit, like not quite Amber Heard type bullshit, but total bullshit. And yeah, it was just a shit show. And then, again, just disparaged my reputation and told everybody that I was holding her back from accomplishing what she wanted to accomplish. And we wonder why our kids are out protesting in the streets right now and changing their genders. I mean, do we have any question why that's truly happening? I mean, I think it has a little something to do with watching their mom and dad get along for... But really, think back to when you were 17, 18, 19, early 20s. I remember that like it was yesterday. It felt like it was freaking yesterday. All we hear in the news right now is, these kids who are saying the things they're saying in the streets and calling for the death of the Jews, like they don't even know what they're saying. Well, kinda. But here's what I think. Remember when you were a kid? Did you ever make a decision or do something or go along with something because it made you accepted? Because that's what everybody else was doing? The feeling that a kid gets for being accepted into something is greater than them caring about actually how horribly evil the message is. Get them doing something. I guarantee you every single one of these kids, every single one, if you got them out of there and showed them acceptance somewhere else with another group of people, they would choose to do something different. I know they're all at college, but just think how isolated and divided all these kids have been for as long as they've been. This protest is something they can all get excited about. There's probably mutual respect given within the protesters, or so what they think is mutual respect. What really baffles me is how many white kids are just so willing and able to, for lack of a better term, just shit on their race. I mean, we are in a period of time that I know, has not existed in my life whatsoever. Maybe it's necessary. I don't know. I've always been a believer in, what happens for a reason is the reason it happened and all that stuff. But this has got to get fixed. This is not heading in a direction that is going to end up in a good place. I mean, I feel like the old guy now, but I guess we are. We had these kids. Our generation got together and decided that we were all going to have kids, and a lot of us were just going to maybe not follow God. Maybe that is it. I'm the only one on my dad's side of the family, or, my dad's family was the only family on his side of the family that didn't go to church every Sunday and follow the Bible rules like his parents set out for everybody. And I never thought that was a big issue. I just followed my other grandparents' advice and just treat people kind with respect and decency and work hard and, the basic stuff. And then have fun. Learn how to do fun stuff. Enjoy your life. That's all I followed, but maybe it was it. I don't know. I also think it has a lot to do with there just not being respect kind of ingrained in kids today. Not having as many people who grew up with coaches and mentors. Respect has been lost. Getting to know that World War II generation, my grandparents, the 1910 to 1925 age group. That age group, without their being involved in my life, I would have been a totally different person. They taught me respect and kindness and morals and how you treat people right. And I didn't get into trouble a lot when I was young. Now I got into trouble. I got kicked out of high school, but I didn't get into real trouble. And probably the most significant reason is I had too much respect for my grandma and grandpa. I didn't want them to be disappointed in me. So yeah, I think that generation being gone is a big part of this. Shit, my kids didn't even really get to know my parents. And I had two of probably would be considered the shittiest parents ever. The lucky stroke I had as a kid when I was growing up was, my dad had money, and my dad didn't give love or attention through, telling you he's proud of you or hugging you or spending time with you. My dad just peeled off money and gave it to everybody to keep them quiet so he could go off and do whatever it was he was doing, which was typically gambling at the casino and cheating on my mom. But that's a whole other story. Save that one for my therapist. So our kids who are these protesters, you know, people a little bit older than me. I think, you know, my kids are 14 and 19. You know, these kids are probably a little bit older, but we had kids a little later in life. So I think Gen X is responsible for this. We fucked up. We fucked up. And you know where we fucked up? We fucked up by not showing our kids what respect is, what love is, and what family is. Their families got destroyed right before their eyes. They had to watch a constant power struggle of who's in charge, mom or dad. Is the man or the woman in charge? Is he or she in charge? Are they in charge? Are us in that? Why do you think everybody today, all these transgender kids or young adults or whatever, are calling themselves non-binary? Or I'm not a man, I'm not a woman, you know, whatever. I mean, pick it up, people. The transgender movement is a protest. It's a protest on all the kids having to watch their parents argue about nothing, but argue all the time. Have a power struggle for their entire lives. We gave them their Xboxes, we gave them their iPads, we gave them all their screens, said, here, go spend time with that. While I go, you know, out on the deck with the neighbors and drink 3 bottles of wine till 2 o'clock in the morning. And then we're going to wake up hungover and we're going to put you in front of Curious George for 2 hours and teach you how to use the DVR at 4 years old so we can then slightly recover from our hangover. That's what happened. That's what we did as parents. And now the kids are out just being angry. And this is what angry is. This is what angry looks like. I'm sorry, but that's kind of the way it is.